Hello. Just a quick update. I just had a conversation with a care person from the crazy making place, and it's because I asked for a tranquilizer. Um, and it appears that now my abundance is going to be usurped. He told me that I told him that I think that my soul exists in other people now and everything. And he's like, well, what can you do to get your soul back? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, he tried to gaslight me into believing that I have a depression, which is possible. I was very depressed when I could feel my feelings. But that is not the reason why I can't see and what is happening with my soul. That to me is interference and some kind of obstruction so that I can be bled dry into the system. The Sophianic principle and the solar feminine, their job was to take down the system, to see through the system, to do that from a place of power. Now, everything's been twisted around on me, and I have been victimized, which means I am in a state of victimhood for the most part. And yeah, people can just usurp whatever they want. And now I trusted him and I told him what was going on, and I shouldn't have done that. But I always seem to only know that afterwards, that people are up to no good. First thing he's like, yeah, well, I'm empathetic. I'm empathic. I can feel what's going on inside of you. And I'm just like, oh, that's great. So now I have to give my power to someone outside of me because I can't feel myself. That's the perfect strategy to take someone down. And I said to him, I explained to him, for example, the thing with what I had told the other caretaker, that I have nightmares and that in the night I dream the truth of what is going on with my soul. And that the next time I went to bed, I didn't see anything and I had no idea what was going on anymore. And I said to him, well, I am curious what will be taken away from me after this conversation. Because every time I seem to do that, something is taken away. And he's like, oh, that's a good thing. And I was just like, yeah, it's a good thing if it's something that actually gets me back into my track of growth and regeneration, and not if it's something that I value, like my abundance. So now he said to me that it's probably better if I get another job that is not with my parents. But of course, now my parents probably are going to usurp my abundance and then put me out on the street, because that is their plan all along. And yes, that sounds crazy and horrible and unbelievable. But the things that narcissists and thieves do, and I read a message from before my accident to one of our employees, and I said to him, they're doing all of this just for money. All of this for money. And he's like, Julia, what are you talking about? You're crazy. What are you talking about? I'm like, yeah. Crazy, Julia. But I don't know what's going to be left of my perception and my ability to see these things tomorrow. So that's why I'm recording this video, because they seem to be slowly eroding my ability to see things for what they are. And he said another thing to me, because I explained the situation to him, where the girl said to me, "Oh yeah, it's okay if your soul is disintegrating and evaporating into thin air, and you will never be able to have what you had before." And I was just like, "Oh, interesting, really? That sucks. I don't own myself. I can't have my feelings back. I can't have my soul parts back." That really pissed me off. And then I told him that, and he's like, "Oh yeah, maybe you are inspiring people to reconnect to certain parts of themselves." And that's the exact bullshit that my mom said to me when I said to her, "Oh, you all seem to be so creatively inspired all of a sudden, and I am left dry with nothing." And yeah, sure, I'm happy to inspire people and help them connect to whatever parts that they are, to bring them into their higher potentials. That's great, but not at the cost of losing it myself. That makes me fucking pissed off. That makes me really angry, because that is not from a place of embodying it myself with my soul. That is a soul leak. That is leaking out to other people and feeding into other people, and it's not existing in me anymore, and it belongs to me. Other people have to find their own inspiration. Everybody has their own inspiration, and everybody has their own abundance and connection to abundance. But I'm leaking all of my codes and energies out, and I know that once that has happened, I'm going to be the one fucking dependent on the system. Probably receiving unemployment money or something like that. Having to live in a place that I don't want to live in. It's all a fucking distortion of the divine plan. It's just satanic what is going on here. Super satanic. And and the cruel thing is that I can see what's happening, but there's nothing I can do against it. And I know that most people will think that this is crazy talk, but it's not. And the reason why I wanted to exit this life was because I knew, and I had the foresight to know what was going to happen. And it's like I'm being blinded or something to see what's still inside of me, so that I don't know what's still going to be taken. I remember when I went to university, the Center for Interactive Research on Sustainability had this component to it, to turn occupants, passive recipients of conditions in a building, into active inhabitants. I was already an active inhabitant, and now, because I am degenerating, I am turning into a fucking passive recipient of conditions. And another thing that this building wanted to embody was to be a living laboratory where every thing that happens within the building can be like a research ground. And that has also backfired on me because now I am in a giant experiment. And yes, that sounds crazy, I know. And why would they do that? But I think that they want to create something transhumanistic out of me, which would be the most painful thing for me to experience, because that's not being alive. That's the most horrendous thing. Then another thing he said is, oh, what did you study? And I told him that I studied resource management and environmental studies. And he's like, oh, that's totally an upcoming topic with all of the shortage in oil and gas and everything. And I was just like, yeah, but my soul energy is usurped into the system to provide for others. And that is not my purpose. My purpose is not to leak my energies into everything like this. Or another thing that I really was interested in was living systems. Systems that are God infused, that are alive. And now I'm creating that, but not from a healthy place, not from a place of like, oh yeah, I know how to do this and this is how we do this. It's my energy is leaking into all of these systems so that they become alive, and I become more dead all the time. And this is a major takedown of my soul. Today my psychotherapist said that I needed to make a decision whether I wanted to stay here in this hospital or go into one that is more anthroposophical, which is more holistic. And I just sat there and I could not make the decision because I knew that it doesn't matter which way I go, I'm fucked. So I decided that I wanted to try this holistic hospital thing. And my friend has offered to me a few days ago that she would even take me there by train, because I can't get there by myself, and they wouldn't. They're not going to. They're not going to just transport me there with a health transport, because it's really far. And now I just told her, because if I may have to make arrangements, that she would have to take me. But yesterday I was really pissed off with her because she didn't believe my perception. She was just like, Julia, that's all your perception. That's part of your disease. That's yeah. And another thing is that when I was soul embodied and connected to my soul, I my goal was to create my own publishing business through writing and creativity and things like that. And now it seems to be like I'm fucking publishing my insides out, and that was not the plan either, that I do that. I think that my accident no, I think that my soul is split and I need to heal the soul split, and for some reason I can't do that myself, and I can't really manifest someone who does that. I've tried, I've asked people, and nobody seems to be able to do that. And so I'm leaking all of my energies out, and I'm publishing everything that I have instead of writing things down so people can learn from it and so that they can embody it themselves. my embodiment is becoming completely fucked up. And right now I'm just like la la la. But before this stuff started coming up, I was very depressed. I was just like, holy fuck. And every time I have feelings of wanting to exit, shortly after something comes out of me, something is ripped out of me. It's a fucking tragic way to die. It's torture, and this world is very cruel. In German, there's a word gemein, which means cruel and evil, and then there's the word Gemeinschaft, which means community. So it's interesting how these words kind of correlate together, how they kind of work out. Yeah. And so much for my family and their love for me, that they programmed me this way so that I can infuse the world with soul. Isn't that wonderful? Anyways, that's enough for now.